Two little birds, they flew by my window, and they told me not to give a damn. It's time to take over the world, I got something to show ya. Mind is the gun, time to take it out the holster and be free. Let yourself free. They say we lost our way a long time ago. We went from kings and queens to waiting on the antidote. See, I woke up in chains on a strange boat, trying to keep the peace just to stay afloat. Knowing in my mind this is new air. Tired of living on a wing and a prayer. But we gon' get there. Said we gon' get there. I went down by the river just to free my soul, to wash in the tears that made me whole. Down by the river just to ease my mind, but the stream already dry. I went digging just to find some proof, and found the power was in my roots. Yes, it's in my roots, yeah. Though you may never be heard, you got to speak the word. You may never get through, you got to speak your truth. You got to find a way to break the chains. No more potions to ease the pain. Let it all go and let yourself know. So carry on to a new day. See, you can bruise my soul but can't kill me. You see the road's been paved to a runway, and these wings of mine are getting achy. See, the price was paid for me to survive. I'm gonna write my name in the sky, and we gon' fly. Yeah, I went down by the river just to free my soul, to wash in the tears that made me whole. Down by the river just to ease my mind, but the stream already dried. I went digging just to find some proof, and found the power was in my roots. Yes, it's in my roots. I went down by the river just to free my soul, to wash in the tears that made me whole. Down by the river just to ease my mind, but the stream already dried. I went digging just to find some proof, and found the power was in my roots. Yes, it's in my roots. Down by the... yeah, yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Casey Lipka. I'm a singer, songwriter, and bassist, and I'm so excited to bring creative people together, songwriters, composers, together to talk about creativity and music. And I am so excited to welcome Julian Cunningham today. He's a singer, songwriter, performer, and educator based in Sacramento, California. He works as a freelance artist and is a founding member of Idea Team, a 10-piece funk band Tour de Force. Please go check them out. Go check out their debut CD as well. And he is also an educator, like I mentioned, and is currently the vocal director at Natomas Charter High School. His voice is absolutely superb, and he brings joy and high caliber musicianship to every project he works on. So happy to have you here today, Julian. Hi.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. You know, we've been behind the scenes here for about 20 minutes chatting. So it's always kind of funny to come into these and be like, hey, I'm just seeing you. But actually,
good to see you again. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. How are you doing with your music and creativity in this time right now?
I'm doing pretty good. Honestly, this time has afforded me the opportunity to really dig in for my craft. I've written a lot of songs, this mainly at the beginning of the pandemic before I came back to work officially, teaching this fall semester. But in the spring and throughout the summer, I was just like, I was playing keyboard more and trying to get more proficient and working on my voice and just writing songs and really trying to dive into that part because of how crazy the world is. I'm like, I have to escape, and music and creativity has always been that escape for me. So it's been, I've been hanging in there.
This time
Yeah.
has opened a door. It sounds like to delve into certain crafts, not crafts, certain things musically that you have been wanting to do. Like you said,
Absolutely.
piano or focusing more on singing or to get a little bit more in depth with things that interest you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All of the above. It's
Mm.
really, yeah.
What what kind of things are pulling your interest musically right now?
Musically, as far as me like writing or as far as like what I'm listening to?
Oh gosh, wow. Any of those questions.
Any of those questions. Um, yeah, I mean, I definitely take time to. Not always. I'm a kind of a music history nerd as well. I love to study the greats. Like I will find a performer and I'm like, well, who did they study? You know what I mean? Like I love Michael Jackson. Who did he study? Jackie Wilson. He was Temptations. Anybody that was around that era. So I've been diving into a lot of deep catalogs through this time, going through Stevie Wonder's anthology, all of these artists you see behind me as well. Like I have their records, and so I've taken the time to just listen uh, deeply to music so that it can inspire what I'm currently working on, the music that I'm writing now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Tell people a little bit about the music that you're writing right now.
Yeah. So the music I'm writing right now is very personal for me. So again, so I've been working with Idea Team for the past 4 or 5 years now, and so I'm actually starting to work on a project that is just my own. That's just Julian Cunningham.
Wow.
Um,
Julian,
yeah.
I'm
And
going
so
to sit here for a moment. I
yeah.
think people who are watching probably don't know who Idea Team is. So
Okay.
can you share just a little bit about Idea Team and
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, so Idea Team is, again, like you said, is the 10-piece, or I think it's about 9 pieces now, but 10-piece funk band. We have a horn section, 2 percussionists, 2 guitarists, a bass player, and then me handling the vocals. And so you said founding member. I will correct you a little bit there. I wasn't a founding member of Idea Team. I came on later. So you'll find, if you look up Idea Team, you'll find 3 albums, and the first one I believe was all instrumental. The second one had a different singer on it, and then the third one has me on it. So I joined them, I want to say 2015, 2016, right? And so we've since then we did one wedding. They wanted me to stand in with them, and I remember after that wedding, we all kind of looked around like, this works. I think we've got something going here. So after that, we started performing and traveling and touring and making music, and just kind of hit the ground running. So it's been a really great journey with them, and we're still working together, of course, as much as we can. There's a lot of us, so we can't always be together, based on the quarantine rules and all of that. But we're finding ways to make it work, making virtual videos and things like that. But yeah, so the music we make with them is very energetic and powerful. Lots of horns, of course, and I'm like dancing and sweating and all this stuff. And so the music that I'm making for myself has a little bit more introspection to it. I have songs that are about every aspect of life, right? About fun stuff, but also depression. Songs about love and things like that. Which are in the music that I've done with Idea Team, but it's just the sound is going to be a little bit different for the project that I'm working on currently.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear that.
Yeah.
A different part of Julian's musical library of sound.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we were here live, you were talking a little bit about the process of your compositions and bringing them to Idea Team and the band realizing your vision.
Yeah.
You were talking about songs that you bring and then also songs that the band has, and then you put something on top of that. So I guess I'd like to start with the songs that you bring.
Yeah.
What is that process like of, hey, I have this vision. Okay, now I'm translating it to 9 people.
Yeah. So that was always one of my favorite things about working with the Idea Team from the start. It was like, again, most of the songs that I write, I'll flesh out on my little keyboard at home. And when I started working with the Idea Team, I don't like write out the horn parts or anything like that. I'll just be like, I kind of want you to do something like bum 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 bum, and then they'll start playing it, and all of a sudden the horns will just create a harmony out of that, and it just that's exactly it. I love it. I'm thinking I want it to sound like this on the guitar, and then one of them does it, and it's like that's exactly it. So we've had this kind of synergy over the past few years, and it just works. I bring them ideas. I'll sing just Idea Team, right? I'll bring them ideas, and I will just sing a few little things. I'll play it on the piano. I'll play them like the main groove. Here's what I'm looking for. Kind of sing each part to the sections, and we just kind of run with it, and it ends up working. We put it together, yeah, and it works like that. I'll tell them what the arrangement is, what the structure is. The most I usually give them might be a lead sheet with chords and, here's the A section, here's the B section, just to get some structure down. But I love to leave room for creativity. For me, I'm like, I trust the musicians that I work with. I don't ever want to be like, this is the exact arrangement and it has to stick this way, because music is organic, right? It's living, it's breathing. And so for me, I love to leave room for interpretation. And there might be somewhere like, what if we went to this chord? And I'm like, I like that. Or maybe that chord, that doesn't fit the mood I was going for. And everybody's like, okay, cool, we'll go to the next thing. But I love collaboration. It's one of my favorite things to do, is just work with amazing, talented musicians and them take my vision and just expand it and take it to a new area.
Wow. That does sound like synergy. I mean, to be able to have that trusting relationship with bandmates that, of course, it's a long-term band, so you have time to carve away, right?
Right.
The ideas and try things out. The name speaks for itself. Idea.
Right. Fully. The name, that's the name Idea Team. That was one of the things that I love, because when I first met them, of course, I was like, Idea Team. That's really interesting. I remember being like, that's an interesting name. And then when I met them all and we all started playing music together, I'm like, this is the most perfect name for this group of individuals, because it truly is. And when we've created songs on the spot as well, I don't know if you're going to, just a segue, I guess, into that, but we've created songs just, we'll be jamming in the studio and I'll be like, all right, so I'm singing these lyrics, and then we're like, maybe we're just turning this into a song now. There's a song on the album called We the People, and that started as just kind of like, I'm pretty sure they were playing a different song, and then they went into a whole new jam. They just started jamming something different. And it was in 2016, that crazy political climate, which seems like daisies and roses compared to what we're in now. But like, it was that year, and it was just like, I don't know, those were the lyrics that were just in my mind, like We the People. I just started thinking about all of these songs. It was kind of like that protest stand-up song, and those are the lyrics that just came to me. And that song was written pretty like organically, just on the spot. I started singing lyrics over what they were playing on the spot, and then I was like, well, I should probably write this down, and we fleshed it all out and turned it into a song. So,
wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing. It seems like improvisation is a huge part of, your vocabulary maybe, but also the vocabulary and shared experience of the band.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Improv is a huge part of what we do. We always have the structure, but there'll be moments where, let's just let the horns go off in this section of the song. Let's just let them do their thing. And they find a way, even with their, like, they'll be, going through all the different notes and stuff, but they'll find a way to just lock in with each other. And it's when we create those moments, those are my favorite memories with the band. Those are my favorite moments with the band, when everybody is locked in into a certain groove and we're all just feeding off of the moment, feeding off the energy from the crowd that's there. And just living in the moment and improvising whatever comes to us, spontaneous creation on the spot, you know.
Wow. Are there, out of sheer curiosity, are there times with the band that everything you do on stage is totally, completely improvised?
We've had moments. I mean, besides the basic chord structure that's there, you know what I mean? Everyone has to be in tune. Everyone has to be playing the same chords. But there's lots of moments like that where it's just like, okay, here's where we're going. Like, you know, we're just giving some free time. You know, we might break and Kyle's just going off on the bass while everybody's just sitting there waiting, and then they come back in and we're like, we did not plan any of this, but it happened, you know? So
that is a musical relationship that has, I'm sure, been developed over a long period of time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for the last 4 or 5 years since I've been with them. But then they've all been together for way longer than that. A lot of them grew up together in Amador County. And so they're in different jam bands, and, you know, they started Idea Team a long time ago. So when I got there, they were pretty locked in, or the core rhythm section was pretty locked in, you know. And then when I got there, it just seemed that we all just worked together. You know, it was that band that I just remember being like, wow, like this is a dream come true. As a singer, you know, studying music and going through college, you know, you might meet a few musicians and play some music here and there, but it's rare to come across a band who's like set in stone, and they're like, you know, we're doing this. You know, we have a practice room, we get together. There were times we were getting together 3 days a week, Monday through Wednesday, and which now we don't do that, but it's unheard of. A lot of people are like, whoa, you guys practice that much? But it didn't feel like practice because we'd come together and, you know, we would be hanging out, but we would just be playing music the whole time. And it just didn't feel like we're practicing. It was just like, we're coming together to make music, but we were doing that 3 days a week. So of course that kind of built up a strength, I think, in our sound.
Wow. I mean, it's so fitting for the name, Idea Team, and team. Yep. Usually, you know, sports teams usually come together and practice multiple times a week. I don't know why we don't think about music like this necessarily. Right. I mean, I would personally like to change that, but that's an aside.
I heard that. I definitely heard that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have the Idea Team part of you, Julian. You have the Julian music part of you. You have the educator. You have performing artist. I mean, how do you think about balancing all of the different facets of your artistry, really?
I don't know. I didn't sleep. No. Yeah. I truly, you know, people are like, oh, I love music. I love what I do, but I truly do. It's something that I decided a long time ago that I was going to just give my life to fully. And I knew that for me, it was like, I love music and I want to be participating in music for my life. This is how I want to live, and that's going to be in any facet that it comes. And so I like teaching. I love working with singers and working with harmony. And so for me, while I didn't go to school to be a teacher, it was something that the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, yeah, okay, well, I will do this because I love teaching, and it obviously is a great way to earn income because musicians, you know, it's always hitting it there, you know, so I love it. Performing, it's something that I've just always done my entire life. I've been, you know, I sang in my church choir as a child. I sang in every school choir you can think of, jazz choir, show choir, chamber choir, a cappella choir, anything you can think of. And so, yeah, I knew at a young age that this is what I wanted to do with my life. And so, yeah, for the last 10, 15 years, I've just always been in multiple things. I've always been very busy with music. If it was like I said, in high school, that was performing with a competitive show choir where we would travel and go to competitions, as well as me singing in our church choir, as well as me trying to write music with my friends on the side, you know. And then you go to college, and I'm like, okay, or I go to college, and I started working with Dr. Art LaPierre at American River College, and I joined the vocal jazz group there. I've never known exactly what I wanted to do, which sounds weird because I know I've always wanted to sing, but I was like, I went to school. I knew I was a recording major at American River College. I was like, I'm a commercial recording major. They have a studio there. It looks like a cool major. I'll take it. Then I met Dr. LaPierre, and he was like, Have you heard of a music major? I'd never heard of a music major before because no one in my family studied music. None of them really went to college besides like one of my older brothers. And so I was like, okay, music major, what does that mean? He's like, you're going to take lessons and you have to learn music theory. And I never knew anything about music theory. I couldn't have told you what a half step from a whole step was when I was 18 years old. I had no idea. I was just like, I know I like to sing, and if you tell me what to sing, I have good ears, and I'll sing it back to you. And so, yeah, I went through the process working with Dr. Gilman, learning music theory. Then the opportunity presented itself for me to audition for Sac State. Got into Sac State, and I just started meeting musicians along the way, musicians like yourself, and like Idea Team and people just in the community. And I don't know, everything's kind of happened organically for me. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go this direction. But yeah, all of that ties into just what I do as a musician and as a singer and performer. So I've been doing it for a long time.
Wow, that is so inspiring, Julian. You're following it. It sounds like even though you didn't know exactly, oh, hey, I want to be an educator, or hey,
Yeah.
I want to do this specific musical thing with music.
Yeah.
It seems like you followed the passion for what was interesting to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least from my end, it appears that all of those pieces, things that you followed along the way, are contributing. You know, it's like you're just going down the path, acquiring different tools, and you're like, I just know it's music. And that's good. And I'm here, and now I got all the tools.
There's a song on the Idea Team album that I wrote called Follow the Music, and that is exactly what it's about. You know what I mean? It's just following that thing that I've always felt inside of me. I'm like, I know that music is going to take me where I'm supposed to go in life. I don't quite know what it is, but I know that if I just stick with it, something's going to happen. And I'm constantly trying to improve myself as a musician and as a singer. I'm like, can I do something musically or understanding the theoretical part of music better than I was able to do last year? That's always my thing. Like, am I further along than I was last year? Okay, then we're still moving, and we're still getting somewhere. So, yeah.
One thing I love that I'm noticing about the way that you're talking about things, especially music and sharpening your tools, so to speak, is that you're thinking about, oh, hey, how can I improve? What do I want to do? What did you say? Something like, is this better from the last time?
Yeah, am I improving? Can I noticeably find something within myself musically or whatever that is better than I was 365 days ago? Can I say that I can do a run more cleanly this year than I was able to last year? And those are the checkpoints that I give myself. Because musically, another thing, I'm always thinking, I'm only in competition with myself. And that saves me so much because you know how many amazing singers there are in the world, amazing musicians you come across. And I don't look at them like, oh, I want to be with that person, you know, or look what they're doing and look at what I'm not doing. I don't think like that. In my mind, I'm like, you're in competition with yourself. I'm in competition with Julian from 2019. Are we better than that guy? We're better than that guy this year. Okay, cool. You know, let's go forward then. That's all that matters. So.
Wow, I love that. That is, I think, a shift that a lot of people could benefit from in terms of how we think about ourselves in the context of music. I mean, myself included, I think it's easy to think about, oh, hey, this person is doing this thing that I love, but that's not necessarily me, you know?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
You can draw inspiration, and one of the things I love, and I was so surprised by moving to Sacramento, is like, there's so much amazing talent here, you know, and I love it. And I'm so inspired by so many different bands. I was just telling you earlier, like your group, Dear Darling, is so beautiful. Your harmonies, everything. I love it. And I am absolutely inspired by that. So for me, I'm always trying to draw inspiration, but never comparing myself to any other musical project or identity out there. It's just, I'm trying to create for myself and just trying to get better within myself.
Wow. Yes, words of wisdom for people to take along on their journey today. So what do you wish you would have known about writing music or being a musician when you first started?
That's a good question. What do I wish I would have known? When I first started, I
Yeah.
wish I would have known the basis of music theory, or not even that. Just I wish I would have like some people take lessons when they're kids and things like that. That was not. I grew up in poverty really, and so we weren't able to do extra lessons and things like that. And like whatever you do at school, good luck, and so I wish I would have like taken it serious at a young age. Like I wish I would have, because I didn't really decide I wanted to be a singer or give my life to music. Like I knew I loved music when I was growing up, but like the moment I decided was probably like after my freshman year of college, where I was like, this is it. I don't care what it takes. I know it's going to take 10 years to get good at anything, so I might as well do what I love, right? That's when I really decided, and that's when I started really writing music around 18. When I wrote my first song, I moved in with some roommates, moved to Sacramento at 18 years old, and my roommate just had this little dinky keyboard he brought. I didn't even have my own keyboard at the time. And it had batteries in it, and I just kind of would sit in my room and I would just look for sounds. I'm like, these three notes, that sounds good together. These three notes, those sound good together. So I was writing these 2-chord songs, and like, we'd be having a party or something, and my friends would be like, can you play us a song? And I would just, use my little hands, like not even good fingering position on the keyboard, and I would play it on the little dinky Casio or whatever. And they're like, wow, like that's really good. Like you have something. And I would just be like, really? You think so? Like I guess, but I wish I would have like known more about music, because I feel like I would be farther along at this point, but I have to always be like, you're on your journey. Everybody has their own path and you're where you are for a reason. But when I started, I wish I would have known a little bit more, because I think, today I'd probably be a lot farther along in my writing and my understanding, I guess, even though I feel like I'm in a good place, but still. Yeah.
I mean, to honor that, I hear you. And it also seems like, from what you were saying about Idea Team being improvisational, and those elements of your musicianship also are part of your strength.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely get that. So yeah, I just try to work it all out. I wish I would have learned that, but I learned it as I went. I learned along the way, and the better I got at understanding music and the theory of it, I'm like staring down. I have my keyboard in front of me right now, but the more I keep like looking down at the keys, the more I understand like music and structure, and now I know all of my chords and all of my scales and things like that. The easier it is for my ideas to come out into this plan, into real life, because I could hear something, but I wasn't always able to create it. And now I'm like, it might take some time still, because I'm not like a master piano player or anything, but I can find it. I know that I'm like, or now I know different chords. I'm like, what if I sub this chord out, or like reharm this here? Okay, I like the way that sounds. That adds a whole new mood. Let me add a 13th on that now. When I first started this, you would have said 13th or a sharp 9 or anything. I would have been like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're speaking a different language, And so that's something I wish I would have known when I first started. But how do you know things when you're first starting anything, I guess? So.
Yeah. So true. If we only knew those things about research, come on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So tell me more about the music that you're creating right now and how you're thinking about that differently.
Yeah. So I kind of, I guess, to get a little deeper here, I feel like I kind of hit a musical wall, if you will, or not a musical wall, a wall in life where I was kind of reevaluating everything. I kind of, went through a situation where, ending a relationship. My father was battling cancer. My band was, there was things shifting within the band, members leaving, things like that. And so I found myself just kind of, going inward about everything, dealing with some anxiety and life stuff. And out of that, again, the one thing I always ran back to was my music. And so for me, I was like, I want to emerge in a different entity. I want to be able to kind of gel all that I am together, because like you were saying, there's like the Idea Team Julian, there is the educator Julian, there is, just the artist Julian. There's all these things. And I'm like, I want kind of a blank canvas to start on for my music to live. And so I have been flirting with the idea of using a new name, an artist name, if you will. I've only talked to a few friends, so I guess people that are watching this, you get to hear this now. Yeah, and so the music that I want to make is I want to encompass all of that. I want it to be spiritual. I want it to be sexy. I want it to be stuff that is introspective. The songs that I'm writing, I just want it to be a well-rounded thing. And so I've actually I put together 7 songs so far that I am putting together in a project that you're just now hearing about for the first time. A lot of people about it. And so I'm meeting with a few musicians, and we're going to